Assalamualaikum. Hello everyone, it's me again, Fatima Zahro. And how are you today? I hope you're all always happy and always healthy. So, this time I want to remember a little about the history of the Sumpah Pemuda, which we just celebrated yesterday, namely on October 28th. As in previous years, we have always commemorated the day of the oath of the young man who fell on October 28th. We know that this young man's oath was born of a historic event of none other than the Second Congress on 27 until 28 October 1928. But you know what? Aside from being warned, what was really going on in the Youth Congress back then? What is the effect of this oath making the nation progress? Who was the inspiring figure present in the birth of this oath? If you have not noticed, it's okay. We are all learning here, so don't be shy. So let me tell you, behind the birth of the oath of youth, there is a mountain of work and asa that can be a great inspiration to all of us, the young generation of the nation. Let's hear it for real. Story of youth vows. Okay? Well, hear me out. I'm sure some of you would hear the word history coming out loud, right? If so, I promise that it will be different this time before I get into some inspiring and interesting events relating to the youth oath. I will refresh your understanding of the history of the youth oath to make contact with the next topic. So, I'm sure you're familiar with the basic information that the young man's oath was born of Congress for Youth 2 was carried out on October 27 until 28, 1928 now, but also want to tell you, so what is a Youth Congress and why are there two? But when it comes to the young man's own vows, we'll focus more on the Second Youth Congress. The Youth Congress was a two-time national congress held in Jakarta. The first time is April 30th until May 2nd, 1926. Well, back in the first Congress, the competitor had not thought of the youth pledge because back then the contestants still had their sense of community. For that reason, the first Congress eventually resulted in the Union of Indonesian Students, or PPPI. His aim is to strengthen the unity of young men against the invaders. This is what finally happened in the next Youth Congress to become imperative of the young vows. In Youth Congress 2, the participants were present not only from PPPI and those from Youth Congress 1, but also from other youth organizations such as Java, Jong Bataks Bon, Jong Celebes, Jong Sumatra Bon, Jong Ambon, Katoliki, Jongelingen Bon, Betawi Yacht, Sekar, and others. In fact, the Congress of Yacht II was also attended by Chinese marriage representative in Indonesia. For example, Kui Tiam Hyong, who is a member of the Jong Sumatranan Bon, as well as other yachts such as Oi Kai Afternoon, John Lau, Chuan Hock, and Chiu Chien Kui. There is also Si Kok Leong, the dorm owner of the student building, who is a historical witness to the formulation of the young oath. The building was located on Mainak Road 1006, Central Jakarta, and now it is gathered into the Yacht Museum Oath. So, this is the beginning of our union. Though each come from a different cultural background, the young men in the Congress all had the same ideals. You can see from the purpose of the yacht really below. I'm Yacht Congress 1 and 2 in the proceedings. The commit for Yacht 2 come from various yachts of different cultural backgrounds. Not only representatives from the province, Yacht Congress 2 is joined by the one and only Muhammad Yamin, who will be the initiation of the Yacht Foe, and also our legendary composer Rudolf Supratman, who will eventually do his piece in this Congress. You know what song? Indonesia Raya is gay. Now, for a more comprehensive layout of the Yacht to Congress Committee, please note below the chalkboard. Congress Committee for Yacht 2, now that we are entering the main event. Yes, about the history of blowing the young man's own foes. So guys, this is Yacht Congress. You have read about the destination upstairs. If you were paying attention, you would have noticed neither the Congress of Yacht 1 nor 2 had anything to do with the Oath of Yacht. Why do you do that? This is birth of the Congress of Yacht 2. Birth of the Oath of Yacht. As it turned out, the contents of the young man's oath had only begun to be initiated while the Congress of Yacht 2 was going on. At first, there was no plan whatsoever for the young man's oath. After a long 2 days process, 3 new promises were then called the oaths of this young man. So, anyway, Congress was coming to the end of the show. Once to enter the congressional verdict, Muhammad Yamin gave a piece of paper to Sugondo as the head of Congress whispered, "Ik heb een eleganter formulating for the resolutie." It means, "I have a more elegant formulation for this Congress decision." Then Sugondo approved, and this piece of paper was passed to the rest of the Congress. With a positive response, Michel explained in detail what he had written on the piece of paper. It contained none other than the 3 points known as the mantra of teenage girls' age, but at the time it was still a yacht force. Yes, it was just a matter of time before the Congress had finished, and Yamin had himself been amended into a yacht out. In its own writing, the foe was still written with the spelling of one of each scene. Yeah. So it had a sound similar to that speech. Because at the time there were still not many Indonesians who were fluent in Malay. Make the complete content of his foe look directly under. Feel the oath of yacht. Now that's a bit about the birth of the Guy Boys oath. Where we are finally going to the part I have been waiting for. So actually there are some interesting events going on in the seconds of the birth of this young man's oath. Do you remember earlier that I was talking about W.R. Supratman, who wrote the great Indonesian song? Why do you think I'm addressing him? So there's a story here. Melody of great Indonesian melody apparently in the Congress of Youth to this Indonesia. So at the break session, W.R. Supratman sang a new Indonesian song here, but just used his favorite instrument, the violin. Because of the conditions, the Indonesian youth movement was under constant surveillance by the Netherlands, and the Congress of Youth too was no expectation. I'm afraid the time for the mention of free and Indonesia would create friction with the Dutch. Hence it was merely sung with an instrument. But guys, the audience was totally enthralled with the play, and the congressman asked for encore, all hoping for an Indonesia anthem repeat, but this time it was actually sung. Although I was scared at first, I'm sure the tide of the Union would burst through the room. Finally, it was right because of the encouragement that we had agreed to sing Indonesia Raya, but it has a few modifications. Maybe that's all I can say on the video, but I'm still learning here. So if there's been a lot of mistakes, I'm sorry, and I hope we all get new signs and we meet in the next video. Bye bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.